You took care of her when Heather was born, remember? Was she strong-headed or?
No, she rode her tricycle around the block and scared me to death.
Why?
Because I couldn't keep up with her.
She was a goer, right?
She was going around the block on a tricycle.
At what age? 14 months?
Whenever Heather was born.
Okay. And Heather, what do you remember about Heather?
I remember Heather, that she was a sweet baby. She liked to be held and rocked. And was smart in school. Mm-hmm. Always reading, always wanted books, read books to her, and reading a lot.
She was more quiet, when you say?
Yes, she was more quiet.
Okay, now we're going to go to Peter Jr. What do you remember about Peter Jr.?
Well, Peter Jr. was exciting because he was our first grandchild. We were waiting for him to be born. I remember that everybody there was a party going on. They kept calling and wanting us to come. We said, we're waiting to hear from Peter, knowing that everything's all right for Peter to be born.
Yeah.
And we decided that we would wait until he got out of the hospital because they were so strict in those days. You couldn't see the babies, and we could hold him. So we decided to, when they got home, he was a couple of days old, and we flew up here. And the morning we left, just as we were getting dressed to leave, to fly up here, C.B. said, we can't leave Bill at home alone. If something happened to us on that plane, who would take care of Bill? And we woke him up about 5 or 4 in the morning and said, you're going to Dallas. He said, what? I said, you're going to Dallas to see Peter's baby. So we came up here to see Peter when he was born. And we're leaving that night to go back, and the fog was so heavy that we had to spend the night.
Yeah.
And went home the next day. And we got to see him. Of course, we were wishing he was in Orange where we could see more of him.
Yeah.
But they came then for Gail's wedding on the 29th of December.
And what do you remember about him as a little boy?
I remember him as a little boy, and he and Chad were so much the same age. They loved to play in the creek. Mm-hmm. They were very close. And I just remember that he was a sweet little boy.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. Adventuresome.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Mark came along.
Okay, tell us about Mark. What do you remember about Mark?
I played with Mark a lot. I can remember staying with the children some when Peter and Phyllis went to Europe or somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I remember playing with Mark. And the one thing I remember playing a lot, he liked to play that we would be going on a picnic. We'd pretend to be going on a picnic. He was good at imagining things.
Yeah.
And we'd play baseball in his living room. And we'd run. And I remember most of all that about Mark.
He was real affectionate too.
Yes.
And Todd.
Well, Todd, I was at Todd's. That was after C.B. died, particularly. And he would have to have his breakfast the minute he woke up. And Beth was born. And he was still a little boy. And I remember Phyllis would heat Beth's bottle, and I'd give her the bottle because all attention had to be on Todd. And if his oatmeal was not ready, that he would eat.
So it's sort of like Carol as far as demanding and eating.
Well, I don't know, but Todd was sweet. But he just, I think that his stomach hurt, maybe, I don't know. But I just remember that Todd got all of the attention, particularly his mother's.
Yes.
I mean, he had to because he would just cry and throw a fit.
And Beth.
And we loved him. Well, then, of course, Beth was just a sweet little girl.
Yeah.
We all doted over her.
Yeah.
And her brothers loved her.
Yeah.
And I was with them then. That's when I used to come up to Dallas and stay maybe 6 weeks and go back home. And I slept upstairs. That's when all the children slept downstairs, and I had the room upstairs. And she was a pretty little girl, as you can tell from looking at the pictures, and still is.
Yeah. And then came William. Do you remember about William?
William? Well, William, we were excited. I was excited, of course, for William. And he was a good baby. And Kim, of course, hardly let him out of her sight. But we did hold him and we did rock him and loved him. And we knew he was going to be a fine young man.
And Andrew.
Andrew came along, and Andrew had the colic. It took all of us to try to take care of him. He was a cute little boy. He was very, he was a great dancer.
Yeah, I remember.
Active, fun to be around, and still is.
And very loving, wasn't he?
And we loved him.
And Miss Missy, the last one.
Well, Missy and her mother just barely made it, and Daddy barely made it to the hospital in time for her to be born. And, of course, again, we're always excited when a new baby comes. And we loved her. She was sweet. And I just remember her as being just a sweet little girl.
Remember her smock dresses?
Of course I remember the dresses that her mother smocked and then her grandmother made for her. And she was just a cute little girl.
Okay, and then we go to great-grandchildren.
Oh, how about Carol's children?
Oh, yeah, Carol. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. It's late. Okay, let's go to Christian. What do you remember about Christian?
Well, when Christian was born, the most I remember is when the day he was baptized. We went to Houston, and it was a big affair. Dory, of course, had a big spread after all kinds of excitement after the baptism. And we took, CB is the one who took the pictures. And picture taking always seems to interrupt with a lot, but like CB always said, you can't go back. And I want some pictures of my grandson. And we were as excited as Carol and Dory, and knew that he was going to be a sweet person, and he is.
Remember, he used to draw a lot. You remember that?
Draw a lot? I guess I don't really remember him drawing a lot, but...
So Christian, and then comes Peter Eric. What do you remember?
Peter Eric was a very independent little boy.
Mm-hmm.
He would come to our house and play by himself for hours with blocks. He could imagine building Houston, Texas, and driving cars and parking them at high-rise parking things. And he was allergic to milk products.
Oh, yeah.
And I brought him home when he was a little bitty fella, when Dory was in the hospital had a little surgery, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I strapped him in this little car seat and put him in the car, and this is not about him, what kind of person, what I remember about him. But
it's okay.
But he came to our house, and Dr. Everything the pediatrician tried to give him, he had diarrhea and vomiting, and we had a hard time with him, but he still was a good little boy, and we finally found this ugly brown milk he had to take. And he was happy. He's still a happy boy, and still fun to be around.
It reminds me of Chan and the Nipples. Lord have mercy. Okay, now, Matthew.
Well, Matthew came right near Christmas time. And I drove from Dallas, I remember, when Carol called and said Dory was getting ready to have her baby, and I got there before he was born, and he was a pretty baby. Still's a good-looking man.
Good-looking boy.
And smart. And sweet. And I love him.
Okay,
and
now,
I love all of them.
Guess what? Now, we have to say, do you remember when you first met Dory?
At a football game over at Rice.
Yep. And what did you think of Dory?
She was cute.
Yeah.
She was a cute girl. We liked her.
It was your first daughter-in-law.
Well, not at that when I first met her.
No, but I meant she was the first one to marry into the family.
That's right.
And over the years, what would you say about Dory?
She's still smart. She's still sweet. I love her, and I think she loves me, or she's very good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
a good cook.
Yeah. No one can. I don't know whether she loves to cook, but I sure love to eat what she cooks. It's always good.
And Phyllis.
Well, Phyllis, I met Phyllis. I think Peter brought her home. I think I met her at our house the first time, if I remember correctly. We liked her. She had a sweet smile. She seemed very kind and loving. We could find nothing wrong with her.
And today, when you think of Phyllis?
I don't know what I'd do without her.
Wow, that's sweet.
She always looks after me when we go to parties. She's always, I've always tagged along and followed whatever Phyllis does. I do.
That bless her heart. And then we come to the very last one, and that's Kim Shattuck.
Well, Kim, I think we knew her. When did I meet Kim? I met Kim on a picnic that we went to after church with Gail and her family and Peter and her family. And I remember that Bill brought Kim here in Dallas, Texas. And I remember what she wore. She was dressed in white, and I thought she was pretty, and I liked her. And now I love her because she too is so affectionate. I couldn't ask for better in-laws than I have today.
They're nice. I love them.
I love them all.
Go.
Well, and then Gail went off to school to TCU. She was dating Gus, whom we liked a lot, and family. They were good to her. She went on a ski trip, and she met Jerry Cook, and we liked him as a person as well as we knew him, and they fell in love. And Gail loved Jerry very much, and I know Jerry loved her, but unfortunately things didn't turn out like we had hoped that they would. But they had 3 children, and I love all of them very, very much. And then, after quite a number of years, she met Michael. We have never learned to know Michael real well, but we love him. He's part of our family, and I wish he would acknowledge it and try to be a part of our family, because you are part of our family.
Okay, and we're almost through. What about your first great-grandchild, which is Sydney? What do you want to think about Sydney?
I just remember that first that I was excited, and I remember we were on our way to the beach when he was born, and it was exciting to have a great-grandchild.
You said he looked like who?
And after a couple of months, when they came to Dallas, I looked at him, and all I could say is he looks just like CB's baby picture, and we all agreed. I got some of CB's baby pictures, and he is a sweet boy, a smart little boy, and it always makes me happy when he comes to see me.
Okay, and then we go to, who is next?
Gabby, of course.
No, before Gabby, it was Maya. No, next Gabby. Okay, Gabby. What about Gabby, Baba?
Well, I was as excited as Peter and Nancy were to know that we were going to have a little girl. I was happy to have a little great-granddaughter. She's sweet. She's mischievous. But I love her. And I'm always happy when she comes to see me. And
then comes
Maya.
Maya.
And Maya is sweet too, just like all the little girls in my family. And she's smart. And I like when she comes to see me. I wish I could see more of her. But she's coming to see me more, and that makes me happy. I see more of her than I used to.
And then comes Autumn, Lily.
Then we have Autumn. Autumn is 5, and she's a little bitty sweet girl. Smiles a lot, and I think she might be an actress someday. It wouldn't surprise me.
And then we come to
And she's more loving to me than she used to be too.
That's good. And then we come to Corbin.
Well, Corbin was born right here in Dallas, and we couldn't wait when his granddaddy Big Peter, called to tell us that he was born and he was fine. We went to see him, and sure enough, he was a precious little somebody, and he still is.
Got a big smile.
And he likes to smile, and I like
He
that.
talked early, like his daddy.
So, and then came
Grayson.
Grayson. And Grayson was born here in Dallas, and he's never lived too far from us, where Corbin does. And he had a colic, and it took all of us to try to keep him quiet. And he is a sweet little boy, and we love him.
And he says, bye-bye, Baba.
Yeah.
And then comes Toby.
I don't know. Toby's pretty sweet. What little I've been around him, I like his smile. He smiles. If he ever cries, I haven't heard him cry. When he was little, he cried some, but not anymore. And we just went to his birthday party, and he is 1 year old.
Now your great, I don't know what they're called, but let's start with the first one, Nancy, Peter's wife.
Gail, you shouldn't ask. Well, Nancy has been in our family for quite a while, even before they were married. Nancy spent lots of Christmases and Easters and beaches with us. She's always sweet, and we love her. In fact, she looks like some members of our family.
And Julie.
Well, the next one was Julie.
No, Matt.
Matt was the next one. Matt has been around now for quite a while, and I love him, and I know that he and Kim are happy, and I've been around Matt lately more than I used to be, and it's hard to really know people until you've really been around them a while, and so I'm learning to learn Matt, and I love him. And then we have Julie, and I've known Julie since she's been a little bitty. She's been a good friend of Kim's. They've been into some trouble, caused us some worries, but they've turned out to be good girls, good wives. And I love Julie.
Okay, now, here's the question that I'm asked to ask you. What's your secret to being 89 years old and outdoing all of us? And every one of us has said, even Kimberly said yesterday, I was exhausted and Baba kept going. What is your secret?
I don't know that there's a secret.
What is your recipe for life, Mom?
Just have to trust God.
What else?
He knows what's good for us. If we will just listen to Him, and when we need help, go to somebody that can really help you. And that's what I've done. I've had a good life. And I'm thankful for my health.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I miss CD.
It's okay. You'll see him in heaven. You think if Daddy were here, he'd be proud?
Yes. And I'm proud of my children for taking such good care of me.
We love you. You also take very good care of us. And if there's something you wanted to tell us all, what would you tell us? What's important in life?
I just want to say I love you all the same, perhaps in different ways. And I want you to be good to each other. You'll be happy.
And what have you learned about life? It goes up and down. How do we make it?
Well, you just, as I say, just have to look at the good things that have happened and try to minimize the bad things. We all have good things and bad things in life. And happy with and thankful for what we have. We all have adequate. God has been good to all of us.
He has.
Just remember your family. It's nice to have friends, but they'll never stand by you like your family. If you keep in contact with each other, if you care about each other, through thick and thin.
And I have a question for you. Are you tired of cooking turkeys? I have to ask you that. I have to ask. Are you tired of cooking turkeys?
Well, I wouldn't want to do it too many times.
And the one thing I hope this Christmas, Bob, is that you don't retire from the job, because I don't know what we'd do.
There's no one that can't be replaced. You would
Mom, you can't replace people. Any other wisdom to give us? We need to know.
Oh. Just hope that your children will be as good to you as y'all have been to me.
We love you very much. Oh, how did you get the name Baba?
Chad. When Chad was born in Orange, he lived in Orange.
Yeah.
And I suppose that was, I don't know. I guess he just started calling me Baba.
So you became Baba.
Yeah.
Been Bob ever since.
Yeah.
Huh? And, well, last thing I want to ask you is this. The one we marked. Hold on, everybody. I'm trying to get to it. Okay. This is real important for Todd. For me, God has always been what? To you. Who has God been to you?
Well, God has been the one I look up to, the one I depend to take care of me.
And I have learned that faith is what? For all future generations. What do you want to say?
Faith is the way of life. And to listen to what God commanded us to do. Love one another, even as I have loved you.
That's right. And anytime you've sensed the presence of God through hard times, is there any experience where you've sensed He's near you?
Not really. I just always feel that He is.
He is. I hope I have taught my children that God is what?
Love.
You taught me.
That.
One thing I want all of you to always remember about God and our Lord is
What?
Mom.
Not what?
I asked you a question.
Well, I thought you were looking something
No.
up.
One thing I want all of my children to always remember about God is what?
God is love. We are His children. And He will take care of us through disappointments and happiness. He's always with us. He will never leave us or forsake us if we but trust Him.
For all your children and great-grandchildren and your children, your greatest dream for all of us is what?
Well, I wish you happiness and health and contentment, to be satisfied and thankful for what He has done for us.
Okay, Mother, what's your favorite time of the day?
It's always been late in the afternoon. I enjoyed CB coming home, and I enjoy being at home now. Now that I'm living alone, I enjoy going out with my children and my family, but I don't enjoy going out with friends at the evening.
What's your favorite season?
I don't have one.
You don't?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a favorite season? What's your favorite book?
You asked me that once before.
I'm asking now as an adult. Is there any book you read you really liked?
Oh, I go from one to the other. I don't have a favorite.
Do you have a favorite movie that you and Daddy liked as adults?
Gone with the Wind.
Really? You know which one I remember? Dr. Zhivago.
Well, we like that too.
Yeah. Gone with the
Houston.
Wind. Your favorite story from the Bible?
Well, I always think about when He said, "Let little children come to me,"
Why is that important?
because I love children. I love my children. And I think that if we all trusted Him, and if we all thought like children, we'd be happy.
I agree.
We can't explain God, and we can't explain heaven. Little children can't understand children when you tell them not to go in the street, but they don't go because they trust their parents. And likewise, we should trust God.
Okay, now, you said a prayer with all of us before we went to bed. Can you say that prayer for us, please?
Well,
The whole thing you did with us. All of us have forgotten one of them that you did in between. So when you prayed with us, how would you begin?
now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. But now we pray it different.
I know. And then what else? There's another prayer we said, and I can't remember it. I wish I knew it.
Let's see.
You remember? First, then we said, God bless so and so and so, and then you said something else.
Just God watch over me. May your angels watch over me while I sleep.
That was it. But there was one, I hope you remember someday, that I can't remember, that it was always in with our bedtime prayers, and I can't remember it.
I remember that. May angels watch over you.
Okay, one more thing. As the young people are parents to their children, and we're parents to the children we have, what's the most important way to show your love to your child? How do you show your love to your child?
To tell them about Jesus and His love, and to teach them the 10 Commandments, the Lord's Prayer, and to be a good example to them. Don't use foul language. Don't do things that you wouldn't do if Jesus were right here with you.
That's right.
And also to realize that there's none of us, no one has ever lived that hasn't sinned except Jesus. We all sin, and Jesus knows that. But He always says He will forgive us. He will wash us white as snow. It doesn't matter what we have done in the past. If we repent, it's in the past. He will never remind us. He will never come back and say, do you remember? He doesn't remember. He only loves you and forgives you each time, and promises that He'll never leave you or forsake you.
You know the Bible good, Mom. And is there any advice you might give us when we get all hurried and stressed and hectic in life and feel like we can't go on? What for stress?
Just stop. Just stop.
And
relax, and know that perhaps you need to talk to someone who is greater than you.
Is that God?
Yes.
And
don't try to do too many things at one time, and do the thing that is most important to you at that moment. And don't try to do 2 or 3 things. There's always one thing that's more important.
And you've always told me, Mom, that try not to figure it out at night, but wait till morning.
Things are always easier, that's right.
In the morning, and I've done that my whole life.
Things always seem darker at night and unsolved. It's harder to solve problems at night than the next morning.
I tell everybody that. Okay, and with each passing year, what do you appreciate more in life? What's important to you?
Love and thoughtfulness for my children and health.
I agree with you. Those are the most important things as we get older. Okay, we're almost through. What do you believe that heaven is?
I can't believe what heaven is. I can't imagine what it is. I just trust that that things are happy. What is happiness? We are spirits in heaven. We're not bodies, we're spirits. And if God says that what it is, I believe it. I just believe that it's happiness, contentment.
Me too. When you go to heaven, Mom, if there was a question that you most wanted to ask God, what would you ask Him?
I want to be with all my loved ones. Please have all my loved ones join me in heaven.
That they're
in
all
spirit.
So you want all of your loved ones to believe so that we'll all be together in heaven.
Right.
Is that right? And this, my friends, is the end of a long interview where I've learned a lot that I didn't know. And Mother and I join into blessing you this Christmas. And to know that you're all loved by both of us. And for anything that I've done to hurt anybody in the past, I'm sorry. And we will now sing.
We can't sing.
Oh, we can't sing, that's what we're going to sing. We're now going to sing you a song.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be real short. It's got to end it. We're almost to the end. So you pick the song and I'll sing it with you, and I know what it is. And I'll try to do it. It's the song I most remember with you. So 1, 2, 3. It's "Oh Christmas Tree." I'm going to do my best. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh Christmas tree. You have to sing too.
Okay.
Oh
Christmas
tree. Oh Christmas tree. I need to know the words. How beautiful you are.
Branches. I know it. I can't because I just know
Can you sing it in German?
Sort of.
Do it.
Tannenbaum.
I remember that. Okay. Oh Tannenbaum, oh Tannenbaum,
wie schön sind deine Glitter. Shine. Oh Tannenbaum, wie schön sind deine Glitter. I can sing.
And I will say to everybody on this tape that that's the song I most remember. Mother singing at Christmas. I've never figured out the words to it, but I sing it every year to myself. Oh Tannenbaum, and that's as far as I can get. Love and blessings. Merry Christmas.